Hello students, welcome to BTI. This your teacher Dr. Satya Kumar from Commercial Studies Division. We are in week 5 and starting session 1 today we are going to discuss meaning of supply, law of supply, factors responsible for shift in supply, individual supply and supply-market equilibrium. After completing today's lesson, you need to read the handout and complete the online quiz to check your understanding. Supply. The supply of a good or service refers to the quantities of a good or a service that producers are willing and able, ready, to produce, sell, at different prices in a given time period. Quantity supplied is the amount of a good that sellers are willing and able to sell. Supply is a full description of how the quantity supplied of a commodity responds to changes in its price. Factors that affect supply: change in the cost of factors of production, changes in technology, competition of raw material supplies, expectations about the future, logistics and government support. Law of supply: when the price of a good rises, the quantity supplied will also rise. The law of supply states that the quantity supplied of a good rise when the price of the good rises, as long as all other factors that affect suppliers' decisions are unchanged. Law of supply is illustrated by a supply schedule and a supply curve. 1. A supply schedule is a list of the quantities supplied at each different price when all other influences on selling plans remain the same. 2. A supply curve is a graph of the relationship between the quantity supplied and the price of the good when all other influences on selling plans remain the same. Supply curve is upward sloping. So now let us move to individual supply and market supply. Individual supply is the quantity supplied by a single seller at a given price. Market supply is the sum of the supplies of all sellers in a market. The market supply curve is the horizontal sum of the supply curves of all the sellers in the market. The first graph is individual supply of agua, the last graph is market supply curve, which is the sum of all individual suppliers. Changes in supply: a change in supply is a change in the quantity that suppliers plan to sell when any influence on selling plans other than the price of the good changes. A change in supply means that there is a new supply schedule and a new supply curve. When supply decreases, the supply curve shifts leftward from S0 to S1. When supply increases, the supply curve shifts rightward from S0 to S2. Supply curves changing from S0 to S1 and S2. What is market equilibrium? To understand this, market equilibrium occurs when the quantity demanded equals the quantity supplied. At market equilibrium, buyers and sellers' plans are consistent. Equilibrium price is the price at which the quantity demanded equals the quantity supplied. Equilibrium quantity is the quantity bought and sold at the equilibrium price. Price, a market's automatic regulator law of market forces: when there is a shortage, the price rises. When there is a surplus, the price falls. Shortage is the quantity demanded exceeds the quantity supplied. Surplus is the quantity supplied exceeds the quantity demanded.